significant foot in the grave, or maybe lower division. Either way, perhaps the same thing for a team like Nigma, right? I mean, if they go down to the lower division, I can't imagine they're sticking together with this roster. We're going to start off with some early action, apparently, SVG, as we're going to watch GH give away first blood. Tries to snowball, but there's so many heroes here. There's no chance. I guess a snowball's chance in hell would be pretty apt to be able to get out of there.
Rank 1 for what, Cap?
Yeah, we were talking about that. Rank 1 GH back to rank 1 according to the leaderboard, though. Does anybody, are we certain that's GH and not somebody else who just put in GH's credentials into the
It is hard to know these days, but I think we'll give it to him for now. Maybe the sleuths will uncover it. I think it is him. Very impressive to see him back up there. He will feed first blood. Goes to Undying. This is a hero who can get fast boots off it, so might already skew this early game pretty in Entity's favor. It's a very interesting draft. One of the biggest things, I think, is when you're playing this core AA, we're going to see the early rune fights. Another early snowball.
Yeah, Stormer. He goes in deep to be able to get that bounty rune, and even if he survives here, I'm not sure how good he's going to feel about all this, as they're going to go one last round of nukes, but it's not quite enough. He survives off 40 HP. Maybe he's going to be given a salve here.
No salve to give.
No salve? Oh, that definitely can't be worth it then at that point, right?
Definitely not. He also took Burrow Strike for that first blood, so
yeah,
he's really feeling bad about it now.
Well, he secured himself 1 CS with that Burrow Strike.
So the biggest things about this game are this AA pick. It's going to do a lot of work versus DP Huskar win condition that Nigma was trying to set up, but at the same time, I do feel like it opens up the game for this Ember in terms of, especially later when he has BKB, what is he worrying about in the fights and how do you catch him on the map? It's all on this Skywrath Mage Sand King combo. And if this Sand King gets off to a slow start, which he is, this Miracle Ember could really have a free game this game. At the same time, we see this core AA. I remember Zai doing this a little bit back in the day.
Yeah.
It's strong. He's a strong laner. He scales really hard, and I think the biggest change for this hero is the Shard at 15. When I look at Entity's lineup, who's shoving out the lanes for them in that mid game so the Sky Sand King can get the pickoffs?
Right.
Traditionally, it would not be this AA Undying Sky trio. But if you get this 15-minute Shard on AA, he actually can clear some waves and farm some camps. So it might be an interesting change to the dynamic of the hero that could help their lineup a lot when they're looking for keeping the Skywrath and Sand King off the map at a certain point.
So that's going to be really interesting. If he has a good enough laning phase and is able to get a decent amount of farm, I'm not sure what items he wants to pick up. Like, is it still the same build that Zai used to go, or do you think there's something different now?
There's probably some way different stuff now. I do think you want the Shard on this hero 100% as a core AA at some point. That's your big farming mechanism. But you can go E-Blade probably on this hero now.
Yeah, that's true.
Destructive. You can just get casual Kaya. You can go bots build potentially.
What do you think about a Spirit Vessel build?
Yes, Vessel's amazing this game. There is that Abaddon Dispel, but it's definitely going to be nice. Probably go HOD on this hero. I mean, what's stopping you after all? You know? But
yeah, everybody could go it.
Talking about good lane, this should be a really good lane for them. Double ranged hero versus Huskar.
ILTW, he tries to fight, but there is far too many nukes coming in from the side of Entity, and already this Ancient Apparition lane is looking pretty hot.
This is one of those really toxic lanes you play versus. Why am I in this lane, guys? I don't want to be in this lane with any hero.
Yeah, and Kuro's going to die as well here. Okay, never mind. Disarm comes out from ILTW, and that's enough to be able to keep him alive, but still, I mean, Kuro, he's on limited regen here. If he pops it for himself, it means he's got nothing left for ILTW, who will likely need it in 30 seconds time, I would imagine.
I'm not a huge fan of that go either, because I think your goal in this lane is really to shut down Huskar, and you don't want to deplete all of your mana on this Skywrath for some regen burn on an Abaddon, who's not theoretically changing too much of the lane based on his current HP. It's really about how low this Huskar gets and how much you can force him off the waves. So I actually wasn't too big a fan of that go, but he's pretty much going to free farm in this lane forever, and he's already off to a really good start levels-wise, and this is a hero where the levels matter.
Yeah, CS-wise too, he's 17-2, second on the board right now with only Miracle leading, and a 22-3. Big reason for that early start and everything, but obviously Stormer, he'll start picking up the pace here as he gets the levels on Sand King.
That is the downside of that level 1 exchange. It was kind of good for this Undying in his lane. But this Sand King really lost out in that early exchange. And
So is Undying winning that lane? It doesn't look like it. It looks like Death Prophet's doing pretty well in CS.
I tend to agree. He does get the earlier boots here, but DP is just a hard hero to play super aggressive on. And Mind Control already up to this. He went the early Wand, which you've seen, that kind of Tundra-esque itemization. He's got range up, no Wand charges. You're never going to bring this DP down.
LTW, he's caught between two different nuking cores at this point because Katomi's actually pretty damn farmed for a 4 position. Stormer looks like he's just limping around on a little bit of HP because of that sentry. He knows he's safe for now, but it's if he walks out and Miracle's there and he hits a slight and he hits a chain, then maybe. Oh,
snowball.
Barely got the snowball range. He's going to be able to shards perhaps to keep him in. He goes for another round.
Detection.
No detection.
Yo, boys, get some early dust out here. This is a level 5 mid.
He goes to the TP away. He's going to be good here. And we'll actually get a little bit of CS as a result of this.
Really need some early detection for this, because if he gets punished on one of these deaths, it's super big for Miracle. Again, this is a game where this Ember has to kind of pop off, in my opinion. He has to carry the other 2 cores through that late game versus this AA, who's going to be a menace in this game because of the start he's having. So every little bit you can snowball Miracle helps, and on the flip side, if he goes down...
Slight, trying to dodge a little bit. Kuro's going to be here. Not actually needed as the high levels of Flame Guard were there. Bottom lane looks like they might have been able to catch Fishman. They do. First kill there for Nigma, and they get the Tombstone on top of it, so it's kind of like a kill and a half in a way.
MCGH making stuff happen on this lane. Versus Undying, this is not a hero who ideally wants to lose his lanes in this fashion, but this Death Prophet Tusk matchup is pretty hard for him. At the same time, ILTW is feeling the pressure up here.
I mean, the Abaddon was forced to rotate mid, so there's nobody left to help ILTW out. Kuro has just left him. I mean, a Huskar losing his lane, that's so hard to recover, right?
Especially in the safe lane, because you're not getting all that solo XP. I mean, I guess he is now, maybe unideally, but if you die once or twice in mid, you can still make these triangle jungle rotations. Get
a global gank?
That's a 6-minute AO.
It is. He's so farmed. Fortunately, Mind Control, they couldn't actually do anything to stop him there, so he's not going to die.
See GH trying to scout some of their stacks, but there's nothing to get, and Stormer thinking about that epi. This is where MC's going to have to think about this game. How does he do these tower pushes if he even wants to force it that hard?
Oh, the snowball grab gets him away from a lot of the epicenter damage, and now he has the Flame Guard. He's got his Remnant up as well. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana to work with here, so he won't be able to charge for more.
Other A blast in 8, but not there yet.
Do you think Toby's going to try and snipe him?
Nah.
No? You wouldn't go for it?
I think there's a really low chance you ever get him. He's got some travel time, you know.
Yeah, but think about the mental damage you'll do if you do actually land it. Mind Control popped to the Exorcism, but now he's in serious trouble. Silence up, unable to get off the Spirit Siphon. It, even as he does, as the silence wears away, it's too late. Crystallis claims the last hit on that kill. I mean, you pointed out, Ember Spirit needs to pop off this game, and Mind Control, he's got to do a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to objective control, and at least Mind Control dying there on his first Exorcism has got to feel really bad.
Exactly. I was about to talk about it might be hard for him to do these tower pushes because A can respond with the ult, and it's hard to keep track of that, but he just dies to the Skywrath Burst and the Tombstone in a 1v3 scenario. This is where if you play double saves behind this Death Prophet, you gotta back him up when he wants to make these aggressive plays.
Can we check out that hard camp? Toby just, he spotted out the hard camp in the triangle on Dire's side with the Ice Blast. He literally just did it, I think, for information.
I think he was looking for Huskar, right?
Huskar's
up the lane, and he's on that Ancient camp, so he almost got the kill, to be honest.
Oh, God, imagine if he did that to the Ancient camp instead. What a snipe that would have been.
That would have been some nice mental boost for your team right there.
Oh, yeah.
Just a freebie carry kill on that triangle.
Wonder how many more times Toby's going to do that. Speaking of Toby, GH is actually here now, and Katomi, unfortunately, a little bit off the mark there.
Here.
Oh, blocked in. Toby, they're going to be able to hit the snowball, quickly surround him. There's no chance of him living here, sadly.
And he's rushing 4 staff, which I can kind of see it this game. If he ever forces out of this Tusk Shard, what's going to kill him? It's basically only this Ember. And again, he's going to have to rely on Sky Sand King to deal with him anyway. Don't think there's a way to itemize A versus Hero, so it's an interesting itemization. We'll see.
Oh, they caught Sky too. Miracle, he's beginning to pick up some steam here.
This is exactly what you want your Ember to be doing, abusing some of these early lack of stuns, making the rotations and freeing up some space for Huskar to catch up. And Huskar's not even that far behind, even after the really rough 0-3 start.
Oh yeah, geez, he's actually neck and neck net worth wise. I thought he would have been. I thought his game was kind of ruined, to be honest. I was like, all right, time for Miracle to try and carry this game, but he's kind of back.
Yeah, even well ahead of this AA. So the AA got these early levels, but hasn't been able to put him to too much use yet on the map. And that is the downside of this Heroes of 3. See Fishman go down again. While Miracle's making space, your 3 position is kind of just stuck up here, not taking the tower, not pressuring anything. He's going to scale into that late game and provide you a lot of value, but right now, feels a bit hard for Entity to get stuff done.
Kuro, you could see holding off on a point here, a skill point, not leveling his ultimate because he doesn't want it to accidentally pop off of some of the harassment damage that's coming in. Bottom lane looks like they want to go for the dive on Chrysalis, but he does have Stone Gaze.
Yep, DPL back up. Nigma really wants to use this to get this tier 1. But it's again this question. You don't want to overextend into some large A blast tombstone fight. And that Stone Gaze, as you mentioned. It's a lot of AoE that can come out in these engagements.
They're going for it. Deep dive. They know Chrysalis is somewhere around here. They found him now. He's going to pop the Stone Gaze, but he's kind of blocked in here. Miracle actually tanked the stone form in exchange for trying to block him out. The Ice Shards actually push them along. They need a little bit more damage. Oh, he dodged a Pearl Strike. An attempt to chase after Chrysalis. The slow is still there. Now the Ice Blast and Miracle's dead. All in on Chrysalis. GH is committed, but he doesn't have the damage. Chrysalis survives through it all, and they got mind control. What a turn from Entity. SVG, you said it perfectly. You do not want to overcommit into Ice Blast and Tombstone, and Nigma Galaxy did just that.
What a turnaround there with the Tombstone just doing so much work in this fight. Miracle almost can't play it any better. He traps Medusa during the Stone Gaze under that DP ult. GH just can't get in, and that shard missing might have cost him this kill. Miracle even dodging the Burrow Strike. Cannot really ask more from your Ember in this situation, but once he's out of gas, just nothing left in the tank, and MC did not feel comfortable engaging with Miracle behind that tier 1 into the Tombstone, into the AATP that can come out.
Yeah. Into
the Sandstorm. I mean, this lineup is a nightmare to engage into around those objectives.
I love that play from Entity because it was a risky move, right? Like, you could potentially just get your carry blown up. Speaking of being blown up, here goes the Death Prophet. There's the power of all these nukes from Entity, and this is why they've been running this Sand King Skywrath combo.
Oh yeah, there is no way to save you if you're caught out on your own. This is a lineup with 2 saves, but your 2 saves are some melee supports who are kind of clunky, no mobility. If you're not around them, they're not saving you from anything, so... But I agree, the idea of using your Medusa to take this fight, I think, is exactly correct. If Nigma's willing to overextend there, that's the best fight you're going to get in the early game. Because AA Undying are not catching heroes on the map.
Yeah.
But they'll excel if you run into them.
Right.
Especially Sand King, too. These are all a crazy amount of turnaround from Entity's lineup. So they're always going to be happy to take these defensive-oriented fights where Nigma's jumping into them, especially when it's Miracle first.
Yeah.
That Ember ever goes in deep, it's going to be hard for those saves to follow up very fast, and he risks getting burst. Even if he gets low and he has to retreat, suddenly Nigma's caught in these types of fights they don't want to be in.
Ooh, he did not want that change. I think he wanted the Skywrath Mage a little bit more. Now they're going to cut. Nice 3-man burrow. Stormstormer sets it all up for the Ice Blast. Okay. Ancient Apparition does manage to blow up at least one, but the sad thing is that Miracle was able to slip away due to both a Remnant and a Slight. He gets out still, though. At least they kill Kuro as well. So 1 for 2 to the favor of Entity. Still, got to be very happy with that exchange.
Nigma will take that, particularly because MC just getting to finally use his ult to bring out tier 1, but triple TP in the tree line.
Is he going to be able to get this free? It doesn't look like it. The tower's going to die, and Stone Gaze has actually been popped by
a lot of siphons, though.
Yeah, they're doing everything they can to make sure Mind Control dies as quickly as possible. Afraid of those Spirit Siphons, trapped in a corner. He's actually getting some heal back. Oh no, the Exorcism! It kept him alive! Mind Control, he turns around and gets both of them killed! What a disaster. Entity playing for a bit of greed, but this time around, it bites them in the ass, perhaps. Katomi does manage to come in and maybe get the kill onto GH, but the Aphotic Shield, it came in last second. Crystallis and Katomi thought they were going to be able to turn around and get a kill, but now Crystallis is in a little bit of danger here. The Spirit Siphon is raining him down. He's going to be able to chase for more. Exactly that with the snowball. He blows himself
That wasn't
up,
what he wanted, but he might take it.
Crystallis, it's all worth it.
Definitely worth it. This A blast, too little, too late. Where were you, my friend?
You know,
MC just gets his whole game turned around off this sequence, it feels like.
Oh, yeah. I was going to praise Crystallis for the fact that he was willing to put his body on the line for that safe lane dive, right? Like, he could have done a Deusa thing. I'm going to go farm triangle where it's super safe and nobody can kill me. But he was willing to put himself in that position. But this time around, it wasn't the same kind of setup, right?
Definitely not. This is where they did not have enough burst to finish him off. Though that was really close. I mean, we're talking about calculations here.
I mean, shout out to Mind Control for cutting into this corner and just holding.
Yeah. He was on 40 HP multiple times.
Oh.
Even gets an Ogre Club delivered, I believe, mid-fight there. Helps him out a little bit. And GH...
unbelievable.
Coming in at the end to help clean it up.
Back into the game, we are watching Mind Control get blown up, so this time around doesn't survive, and they will retreat. A little bit of aggression into the enemy jungle gets stymied by Entity as they hold strong with this Sky and Sand King combo.
It's alright, you know, DPL, it's on cooldown anyway. You can throw one or two of those away. It's going to be hard for Nigma to keep control of Entity's deep woods this game, just because of how much turnaround they have.
Yeah.
And it's still a game where there isn't any direct tombstone killer until Huskar's willing to engage these fights. Which LTW, he's closing in on this BKB. He is top of the net worth charts after that rough start. This is where Nigma's going to think about this Roshan and with this next DP ult in the Huskar BKB. Again, though, that fight is so hard to take for them. If Entity get there with Tombstone, Epi, A Blast, they can scout it with the AA Vortex, so...
And Stormstormer is going to make it more difficult to play the map as well with this Boots of Travel pickup.
Yeah, exactly. Now you have to start thinking about this Sand King Skywrath threat off the map if you're Miracle. He is rushing BKB, which I think is the correct choice this game. Because he still needs to be aggressively able to shove these lanes out. But it might not be that characteristic Maelstrom super escalating damage build you would ideally want to see out of this position.
Yeah.
But I don't think Nigma's going to have damage problems, so it's not like it's going to hold them back, but I think they are recognizing this is a game where even though their lineup wants to push the tempo, you don't want to overforce some of these objectives and then get, you know, caught with your pants down, so to say, into all of Entity's AoE.
Right, right.
We saw that earlier. I think they learned that lesson real quick.
Yeah. You give it once. Can't afford to let that happen.
And he's looking at MC here. They don't know where the saves are. That is something they're always going to have to think about. Stormstormer definitely wants to jump these cores, but he has to think about where the Abaddon, where the Tuskar are. And Katomi can come, he can hold his Ancient Seal for one of these saves, but that means you're doing less burst damage on the target you jump.
Yeah.
These are like the small decisions they're going to have to make in these initiations that'll make a huge difference as that fight develops.
Most of the time, which one are you going to be choosing here? Are you trying to blow up that first target faster or play for the counterplay?
I think when the Nigma cores don't have the BKB yet, you try and blow up this Death Prophet. She's up really far.
She is up very far. There is going to be the Aphotic Shield to remove that cold feet, but that was still quite the aggressive position there for Mind Control.
I don't know if he should have gotten out of that, to be honest. Count your lucky stars that Sand King Sky were not there, because I think he should have gone down there.
Now they're going to go straight into Roshan with the rest of the
A-Blast.
But the A-Blast really well set up. Stormstormer is going to be a little bit late, so instead he chooses to be able to pick off the Tusk. A good kill, yes.
Miracle gets a haste rune.
Okay.
No A-Blast here, so... Nigma really wants to force the Roshan now. This is a decentish window.
Playing into this Ice Vortex.
It's so hard.
So difficult. Tombstone, Ice Vortex, the possibility of Blink Burrow at any time. Nigma, they realize this is a bit too high-risk scenario for them.
I like that Nigma kind of faked that force, you know, bring Entity here, make them all show up, get some spells out. Sure, GH goes down, but all three of your cores are continuing to farm. Maybe at a certain point they can get a good pick off, it'll be able to force that easier. Mind Control also closing in on his BKB. So we're going to have a triple BKB timing here for Nigma.
And Blink Dagger on the Tusk. So now you truly have 2 saves, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whereas before it was kind of hard to be able to get a snowball save, but Blink Snowball GH is very good at that. Probably one of the better ones. Shout out to Crit, who's probably the #1 Tusk player.
Forgot my boy MSS in there, you know.
Well, I mean, he's semi-retired right now,
Yeah,
still
true.
trying to find his home.
This snowball save can do a huge amount of work this game. The downside you have to think about, though, is what are you snowballing into? This is why this Undying pick was pretty high value for Entity.
Right.
This hero can destroy Tuskar in the fights because you snowball, you save, you come out, now you're just in zombie land.
Yeah. And they didn't necessarily. Huskar can kind of deal with it, but like nobody else really deals with Tombstone very quickly.
Yes, that is the downside of Nigma's lineup. If Huskar can get in there, he can deal with it, but he has to be worried about this A blast. At the same time, Toby, he needs to play very conservative with his spells, because if he throws out this A blast and it misses, that is the green light for Nigma to just barrel into that fight with their BKB.
Stormstormer's going for another pickoff. Oh, whoa! Snowball! Instant reaction from GH. The Ice Blast goes through, but it's a little bit too late. The Tombstone's out, though. Kuro's in a nasty position. Miracle with his BKB is just going in for the back line. He wants to be able to kill Toby. Kuro's going to die to Crystallis. ILTW's finally here, and he goes in right as Miracle went out.
be a mistake,
What the
though.
hell?
Didn't BKB either.
No
Gets dropped down.
BKB, instantly dies. Mind Control is going to follow this up now, popping his BKB, trying to chase down the Sand King, but this feels a little hard. Burrow Strike out, a little bit of distance. One
This
last
is
Crypt
really
Storm, it's
deep.
enough, but Mind Control is so committed that he is obviously dead. And Crystallis is there going, all right, I guess I'll just clean up kills.
The food just keeps coming. He's level 16 now.
Oh, the fresh Blink Dagger of Katomi. Is it going to be able to get this kill on Mind Control?
No.
Or Miracle, rather. He's okay.
That snowball save looks so good. They even dodged that AO flying over the top. But,
I mean, we got to see that one again. That was instant from GH.
oh yeah, he's going to be super quick on the trigger. Saves all his boys here. You're dodging the Epi and the Sky Ult. These are the 2 best spells you can dodge because those are not going to have the long-term impact on the fight.
Look at him. He was running the other direction, too. And just quick turnaround, blink.
At the same time, this Tombstone just gets dropped on 3, immediately doing work. The split shot and Stone Gaze. That's where these snowballs, they look great, but at the same time, they might deliver you to a worse fate.
Yeah, the biggest sin of all, ILTW there. Yeah,
He just messed up that fight. There's no way around it. Just gets caught without pressing that BKB in time. Instantly bursted.
And to be honest, that is a sin that is not easily forgiven because, like, so much of this game, he has been given so much space by Miracle and Mind Control. Like finding these kills around the map, forcing reactions. He can't afford to throw away this net worth lead that he got.
Especially since this is a Huskar BKB timing. And you buy this early BKB not so it accelerates your farm. You buy it so you can take the early fights, win those fights, and win the Roshan off the back of it.
Right.
And now they're back in this situation where LTW is thinking about this Roshan again, but he still does not feel confident enough to do it, so they're just kind of stuck in this pickle. That's where that BKB really was designed to win you that type of fight so you can get the Roshan while those big ults are on cooldown. But Nigma not finding it, and it's a very costly mistake from LTW.
And if they're losing fights now, what's it going to look like when this Medusa finishes up Scotty? Which I would not have thought this would have been a possibility, but it looks like he might get that Scotty before the first Roshan even dies.
He might. He's pretty close. And that is going to be a big problem. Because normally in this Huskar-Medusa matchup, Huskar can go in and man up versus Hero a little bit, but not with this A blast behind her. So who's actually going to kill this Medusa in a head-on engagement?
Yeah.
It comes down to Death Prophet ult, but we've seen MC. He can also get bursted. That's kind of the sticky situation Nigma's in this game. They have to take the fights a very specific way, and if Entity's just balled up because they're not getting punished on the map, they're happy to keep farming here, I think.
This combination, Sand King, Skywrath Mage. Katomi went for the Blink Dagger to be able to keep up with Stormstormer. Stormstormer's now going for an E-Blade, already has the Kaya. So their burst damage is off the charts. Now we're going to see Katomi going back for a Helmet Dominator for just that free vision that a Harpy gives you.
The vision's going to be really nice because their initiations count for a lot, whereas Nigma's are... There's not an easy way for them to just jump and burst a target. There's that Aether Lens Force Staff on AA, this is a pretty good saving mechanism if one of his cores gets jumped, or even himself. And he did get that shard, so he's going to start to pick up his own farm.
And we saw from the last engagement there that Miracle actually did struggle being able to kill that Ancient Apparition quickly. Oh, a double damage. An opportunity presents itself to Nigma. We'll see if they're able to take advantage of it.
This is a huge rune, because this is the fight Nigma wants to be able to take convincingly. This will allow Miracle to go in. You were talking about that damage output. Now, he might not have those issues.
But a fresh Scotty picked up on
this is into the enemy triangle versus an Undying. The high ground tomb could destroy them here.
They're going to go for Toby first, see if they can burst him down. If he kill him, it means ILTW potentially free game, but both of them have a buyback. And now the Stone Gaze hitting ILTW. Uh-oh, he's slowed down quite a bit. Kuro's trying to run some sort of interception here. Mind Control getting on top of him. Here comes the blast. It does actually land onto Mind Control, and he's going to get popped really quickly. ILTW going back in for the kill onto the Skywrath Mage, but he will die, poked to death by Crystallis with the Scotty. 3 dead on the side of Nigma. It was a relatively even fight kill-wise because of the buybacks on Entity, but that's got to feel so much better for Entity, whose carry is still alive, and now they're the ones going into Roshan Pit.
Crystallis seems untouchable in these fights.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there destroying all of them. Takes basically no damage. That Tombstone as well. Who is killing this Tombstone in the fights?
And now GH and Miracle, they're going to have to do something crazy. They're going to have to try and jump into the pit and snatch away this Aegis, because
Free up your item slots.
I mean, if an Aegis goes to the Dusa, I feel like that's just almost game over.
It's going to be really tough for a long time. So this
GH is spotted. His Blink Dagger's canceled by the Vortex. In fact, he may even die here. Burrow Strike, Snowball Dodge on the Ice Blast. They are going to be able to get the chain on Stormstormer, but nobody's here to punish, and there it is. Second life on the Dusa. You said, how do they kill the Dusa? Well, that's just once. How do they kill her twice?
Doesn't even feel close to them having the tools. Maybe if there's no buybacks that come out, they can take that, but it's just so rough going into the Entity triangle like that when all of their heroes enjoy that type of engagement.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a high ground tomb and it never got killed. Right next to the tier 2, so those buybacks are also instant to come out. Just a 5-on-7 into defensive counter initiation. Very difficult. They did find very good targets in that AA Sky. That's best case scenario in a way, but
also worst case because they had buyback, right?
Yeah,
it's
so
like that was very well set up by Entity. If they intentionally were holding on to buybacks for a fight like that, it definitely secured them both the team fight and Roshan as a result.
The other big thing about fights like that is Nigma wishes they could kind of poke and bait out some of these Tombstone or Dusa ult back up and then re-engage, but it's really hard for Huskar and even DP to get out of the fight once they're in. We'll see Stormstormer just solo killing with the AA ult.
Miracle, meanwhile, with the help of GH, does manage to get the kill on the Skywrath Mage, but it's kind of hard for them to get out. Never mind, I thought maybe Stormstormer was going to come in from the other side, but kill on ILTW is good enough.
The engage and disengage is very delicate for Nigma in this game.
Yeah.
It's almost where you wish they had some more force stats or something, but at the same time, once that DP ult's popped, you kind of have to go in as well.
This is a very important kill if they can get it. They do have the dust. They're going to be able to hit him with the damage. He E-blades himself to try and dodge some damage here, but he cannot easily get out. The Deuce is coming over, though, with the Stone Gaze. Stormstormer hoping it's going to save him, but it will not. GH, he may get burned out. His Fishman's going to go ahead and counter him. Mind Control trying to get to the trees, to the forest, to hide away from Crystallis, and looks like he's going to be okay, but Kuro, once again, kind of throwing his life on the bonfire here, lets it burn. Crystallis gets a double kill.
So they get payback for their Huskar on that Sand King, but at another steep cost, both supports and all of that gold going to this Medusa, now level 20. That's even longer on this Stone Gaze. It's going to make it harder for this Huskar and DP to just man up on it.
I have to say, Entity has been very impressive, not just in this game, but all their series when it comes to these game ones. Again, they've won every single game one I believe they've had in a series. And
Game 1 gods.
Game 1 gods. Sadly, they have lost 3 of those series, and so they are in a bit of a pickle. If they were to lose this going down to 1-4, it'd be pretty hard to climb their way back up, especially coming from the lower division. They do not want to get sent back down. They want to make sure Nigma at least goes down first by winning this series, and at least game 1 looking pretty good for them.
For sure. They're executing their lineup to a T, making sure all these fights, I feel like, have been to their advantage in terms of Nigma going into their areas. That can also be Nigma being a bit overzealous, but at the same time, I can understand them wanting to get stuff done with their timings.
Yeah, especially when you were building up that momentum, right? That dive at bottom tier 1, what so much of that led into it was Miracle just getting pickoff after pickoff after pickoff. He probably felt like he was untouchable.
I mean, he's 8-1. He is basically untouchable. But there's only so much pressure he can apply on the map by himself. Doesn't feel like entities had to respond to him either. They kind of just get the ball up and do their thing, and they're not getting punished too hard for it. Even if this A falls a little bit behind, his spells are just so powerful this game.
Gonna run into the Sand King.
He has a gem on SK2.
They would love to be able to kill him first. Oh, what a kick away. That wasn't supposed to happen. I think Stormstormer's going to get the chance to be able to get off the epicenter. Tries to burrow strike away from Miracle, who does manage to chase him down, but gets stone-gazed at the same time with the high ground tombstone. This is a dangerous area to fight, and Chrysalis is loving it. ILTW, meanwhile, just actually does manage to get the kill on Undying and TP's away.
He's armletted, though. He's going to die.
Oh, he died, actually. He died inside of the fountain due to the Ice Blast. The carry of Nigma is dead, and Chrysalis still has 35 seconds left on the Aegis, so he can take this tier 2. And I don't know if he's okay with pushing high ground right now without the Aegis that's going to take away soon, but he could certainly keep farming very aggressively.
That was Sand King buyback, so at least Nigma's getting some economic damage done here. They'll feel decent about that fight, but at the same time, high ground tombstone with this Dusa Scotty is just destroying mind control.
Yeah.
You cannot enter these engagements at all. The 2 melee supports, every fight's a suicide mission at this point, which is never where you want to be with 2 saves.
This is something that we actually had a conversation on when we were watching the draft. I asked you, when it comes to Undying, you have so many picks left. What route, strategy do you go for? Because I've seen some teams, they just pick a bunch of mobile heroes and say, okay, Tombstone's ever drop, we're just going to walk away from it, basically, with like Spirit heroes and anything that has a blink. Or do you grab like your Snapfires, your Miranas, like something specifically to try and deal with the Tombstone?
And then it's a question of, does Nigma have either, right? To a large degree. I think they're kind of caught in between.
Yeah, I feel like they went neither route. They have to commit into these fights because of Huskar, but
I think Huskar kind of was some of their solution, but this last pick AA just makes that type of gameplay impossible in the fight, so just makes it so they don't have any solution as Tombstone, and it's destroying them.
Shout out to Toby, by the way. I mean, Ancient Apparition offlane, I've seen it fall real flat sometimes, and there was a moment in the game where I was like, uh-oh, he's going to just start dying all over the place, but only died twice. He's picked up an Eon Disc. He's actually incredibly hard for Miracle to chase down.
This hero scales like a beast, too.
Yeah.
The Shard makes this hero as a core a lot more viable because he can actually shove the waves as we talked about, but also this hero has nice talents. These late game vortexes become a menace with almost no cooldown. I mean, what is this, 1.8 seconds on a vortex because he has that quickening charm as well. You're going to see 4 or 5 of these within a 5-second interval dropped, and they add up. It's not an easy hero to deal with in late game situations when BKBs are down and you can take the long engagements, which is what Entity's lineup is built to do. This is where this pick is going to pay off.
Great setup here from Entity. Stormstormer gives the bottle to Chrysalis. They bottle a double damage. The Harpy's going to spot ILTW here. Are they going to set this up? They try and go for it. BKB activates in time, and he gets away from the Ice Blast. Now, Nigma, with all those spells used, are they going to try and go back in for the fight? Well, even if they do, it looks like they're not going to catch anybody.
It's just so hard. There's this double damage sitting bottled on this Medusa. Not an easy engagement by any means. The full BKB. You're going to need an Ags, Huskar, ulti, or life here to try and take this fight up high ground if this is really what Nigma wants to force, but it seems like a suicide mission.
Entity very smartly knowing that they're still strong, even with some spells on cooldown. Hold this high ground with the DD and the French Daedalus of the Medusa and Nigma. They will not attempt to go in that direction. Maybe they've learned their lesson from the previous setups, but
do not go high ground versus team.
Yeah.
There is no way you're winning that engagement.
But at this point, it also feels like a little too late, right? Like, yeah, okay, you don't take that fight, but isn't it, as it goes later, the game more and more in favor of Entity?
Don't think it's that skewed.
Okay.
I think Ember and DP, as they get more items, will help them choose how they want to engage and be tankier in those fights. And you only have one A blast. Some of these late game fights, it could come down to buyback situations or base defense buyback situations where Entity's big ultimates don't count for a lot when you can spend your gold on an Aegis. So some of those things become ickier, but for the moment being, in the next 5 or 10 minutes, it's definitely going to be Entity favored behind this Medusa.
Okay.
But I do feel like at a certain point, this game could become tricky for them.
So, from relative strength perspective, Entity, this timing and like the next Roshan is where you want to at least get like one lane of barracks or something like that. Like you should be aiming to
or
do some
close out the
significant
map.
damage. Yeah.
Like limit the farm. That's where Miracle, he goes this Linken's build. I would really want to see him push this to the limit on the map and abuse the fact that Entity does not have the best catch for him. Keep his items coming. Keep Entity, if they want to play this ball lineup, again, they're on the high ground waiting for the fight to come to them. Don't give it to them. Go farm the rest of the map, shove the other waves in, force some response, find the one hero alone, which in this case is this.
Oh, what a scam. That just saved Stormstormer's life, I think. Because Nigma was on an interception course.
They're sending the Harpy in, slowly but surely.
He's coming.
He's crawling.
All right, so they're set up in the enemy triangle. Pretty common tactic that pretty much the teams just reverse sides here and setting up for Roshan.
Both of them really want this Aegis.
How do you break this tie where both teams sit on a high ground?
You force the move.
Okay.
So what Enemy can do is they can go hit Nigma's top tower here. Chrysalis can start beating on this tier 3 and it's going to force Nigma to make a decision. I don't think in this type of game they can just force the Roche bid, especially with the Harpy scouting it. So it's going to force TPs back here, and then Entity can take the Roche if they want to force that fight. Just likely what's going to happen.
Oh, GH. Doesn't he have that axe? Oh, never mind. Force staff blink. Man, I feel like they're going to need an axe out of GH if they want to be able to turn this game around. It is looking like they don't have many answers to this carry Medusa.
She might just get another Aegis for free here.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
Nigma does not really... I mean, they could have pushed this bottom in harder and faster sooner and maybe threaten Entity back with this DP ult. That's also a tricky situation.
The Illusions get some information here.
Is Nigma really going to take this fight?
Maybe
This
they're
type of fight
desperate.
just seems so hard, but maybe they feel like they can't fight Deuce with 2 lives. Kuro's just getting
In
beaten
goes the
on.
Sand King, already caught GH. ILTW will try and chase down the Sand King, but he already popped the BKB. The Ice Blast does manage to land.
it hit
ILTW,
Huskar.
he's going to be taken out here as the Ice Blast barely clipped him, but it barely is good enough for a kill. As
MC
Mind
just
Control's going to be
getting
chased
shot.
down as well. The Scotty doing too much work, and Nigma, you said this was going to be a hard fight to take, and it could not be more difficult when Chrysalis just starts the fight being able to almost instantly kill Kuro.
They took this Abaddon out of the fight with his ult getting popped. They insta-burst this GH Tusk, so both saves gone right off the bat. GH buys, but his other heroes don't want to, and kind of just made this Roshan even more costly there.
Fishman trying to find somebody. Somebody take the shard from me. Looks like it's going to go to Katomi. So he'll have that increasing buff every single time he casts a spell.
Miracle's
Interesting one.
doing a decent job of forcing the Skywrath in a weird position. He dies and he has to buy back, taking a lot of damage out. But again, the real problem in this game, this Crystal's Medusa. What is your solution here?
Push mid, that gets blocked off. Chris is like, okay, I'll finish off the top tower then.
Mega shards.
Yeah.
Locking him in.
I guess, but
Into
if
what?
you can't actually fight him, then what is the change?
Sends a message.
Yeah, what kind of message?
Says, once we do fight you, you're stuck in there.
He's taking like 20, you know, and it's like, how much is that tag team damage right now? Just every single once in a while just takes a little bit of damage. I don't know.
It is
95
60
damage?
It's 60 damage per second. It's not too bad.
Oh, okay, 60 damage per second. It's 60 damage per second.
Yeah.
This guy's got like 5,000 effective HP or something.
I mean, every little bit, you know, you gotta take every little bit. That's a radiance burn right there.
All right. Well, I don't see many radiances right now, SVG.
I don't think it would help him either, but you never know.
All right, Miracle, he's going to do some split pushing here. Toby is set up. I think he wants Stormer to come in. If they hit the stun on Miracle, he's got a Lincoln, so he's got to break the Lincolns and then have the Blink stun come in. But Stormer was a little bit too far away, so timing slightly off there, but still, they chased away Miracle. That's what's important.
The last 10 minutes, this is Deuce's peak right here. This is where she wants to put the nail in the coffin, end this game, fully stacked out damage-wise. All she's missing is that Swift Blink initiation that could force it on her own.
Yeah.
But Entity corralling Miracle into the base. They even have this really deep ward in Nigma's base top from that earlier fight. So they might see Miracle trying to go early and they can set up on it.
Crystallis pushes bottom. Stormer preemptively sets up to try and catch somebody top.
He has bots and haste, so he can join fights very fast.
And now an Arcane Rune. Heading back to top, and he just might be able to find Miracle, but he needs the rest of the team to be there, kind of. And actually, he already kind of spots himself, chases away Miracle once again.
So Entity's closed the map out, and they're gaining a net worth lead off this. But they're not forcing that high ground. Maybe a little bit of a saving grace for Nigma here as that Aegis timer ticks down. Crystallis just does not feel comfortable sieging either one of these lanes.
I mean, surely you force it with the last bit of this Aegis, right? Or do you think you could just close out the map for a really long time? I mean, ILTW just looks awful against this
He's
Deuce
forcing it. I think you force it when this Aegis is going down, because what do you have to lose? I don't think Nigma can take the aggressive fight into you anyway. You do have to be careful about some aggressive force staffs in or something when the clock's expiring. That could be a way Nigma takes the fight.
There's a Harpy on the side here, getting some extra vision. Team playing that right-hand side, making sure they don't get caught. GH would be a very good pickoff. They want to be able to deal with these saves if possible. Crystallis Shard is beginning to become a little annoying here. But a second lane of range barracks, perhaps mind control, just kind of blinking forward and doing some damage. They're going to try and burn out this Aegis. Now for the second life, Nigma.
He's locked.
They're actually going to go for it. ILTW immediately jumps in. Snowball to be able to dodge the Ice Blast. That was a smart play, but the Stone Gaze still going to be able to go off, and ILTW has to be able to reset. They cannot fight into this Dusa, who is raining down arrows upon them, and ILTW gets swept up by the wave as Crystallis is able to chase him down. Here. Mass buybacks. Miracle's going to die here as well. ILTW, one last play from him, but it's going to be, what, a 5 position on dying kill? Is that all you're going to get? Not even close. A rampage for Crystallis. Making a double, serve up a triple. Crystallis wipes out Nigma, and that is going to be the end of game 1, no doubt. Who is in control of this game for the last 20 minutes? Entity looking very, very good once again for their game 1.
Who was dealing with this Medusa?
I don't know.
It felt like they were all trying to a little bit, but nobody directly, and he just got to play